Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy, and with us today is Kim Etsitty. She's a Diné science teacher at Navajo Pine High School and is currently exploring the Western Pacific Ocean aboard the Exploration Vessel Nautilus. Kim, welcome back to Native Talk Arizona. I can't wait to hear what you've been doing.
Thank you for having me on your show today again. I'll go ahead and introduce myself in Navajo and then in English. Yat eshe Kim Etsitty and ishya toda chini nishlan toheglini bashichin ki ani dashiche na kaidena dashanele. My name is Kim Etsitty and I'm from Chinle, Arizona. I am the Bitterwater clan, born for the Water Flow Together clan. My maternal clan is the Tower and House clan, and my paternal clan is the Mexican People clan. I teach high school science at Navajo Pine in Navajo, New Mexico. I'm a mother of two girls, and I enjoy science a lot.
So, I was watching the videos of the Nautilus and everything that you guys are doing, and oh my goodness, I can't wait to hear more. But how did you get interested in teaching, and what's your favorite subject to teach?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think about this question often. Honestly, teaching it hasn't been my first choice, or it wasn't my first choice. Initially, I wanted to be a veterinarian, so I did a little bit of job shadowing. I just couldn't get over the shots or deal with the blood or the smell. So I had to change my major early on in college at the last minute, and I landed in education. But honestly, I've done a lot of different experience, or had put a lot of experience in different areas in education. I've worked with second graders all the way up to high schoolers, and I even got a chance to teach college students at one point as a peer educator to help them overcome math.
Do you have I probably shouldn't ask this, but I'm just curious. Do you have a favorite grade to teach, or is that like your favorite child? And not talk about that.
No. I think it's totally a common question that teachers get asked a lot. No, I really enjoyed, so all the grades from second grade all the way on up to, because I even taught middle school too. But, going into high school, I've taught high school now for almost 2 years now, and I absolutely love it. I think my passion for science really conveys, and how I want it to get delivered is more, it seems like it's more doable at this grade level in high school, as a high school.
Well, they're probably more engaged, and then knowing sort of what their path is going to be. And it sounds like you're an amazing teacher. But last time you were on Native Talk Arizona, you mentioned you were chosen for the Ocean Exploration Trust 2024 Science chosen as the 2024 Science Communication Fellow. But tell us, what is the Ocean Exploration Trust?
So the Ocean Exploration Trust, or the OET, is a nonprofit organization. It was founded in 2007 by Dr. Robert Ballard. He's an oceanographer, famous all over the world. One of his most famous discoveries was the wreck of Titanic. So it operates, the Ocean Exploration operates the Nautilus exploration program, the one that I'm on. Our job here is to conduct scientific exploration of the seafloor, using this exploration vessel that we're on, the Nautilus. So this vessel is equipped with different advanced technology, remotely operated vehicles, that it makes underwater research possible.
Okay, I'm going to backtrack for a second. You were chosen as a communication fellow. What does a communication fellow do?
So as a science communication fellow, our job is to convey the message of science in a way that the public can understand. So as we are on the ship and we're going into these deep dives, there's a control room full of all different types of jobs, and so the science communication fellow is to have that type of knowledge to convert that information that the control room is talking, and then relate it back to the audience so they understand what's happening.
That's a great job. That's an important job, so that we all understand sort of what you're doing. I was watching it last night, and I thought it was really interesting. And there was a chat box in there, and I asked, how come I didn't see any fish where you all were yesterday, and I didn't see any rocks or coral. And I asked that. Like, why is that? And I don't know if you can answer that or not, but I was just sort of curious about that.
Yeah, so we are in one thing that the public needs to keep in mind, and I kind of sometimes the communication fellow will, we call it SciComm. They'll go ahead and try to deliver that message and kind of repeat it a lot and say that this is area in the whole world that has never been explored before. So that's why we're here, to kind of understand what exactly is happening and what we're seeing. Right now, we're studying seamounts, which are underwater volcanoes. And one thing about land is that there's diagrams about the different species that are in different elevations on land, but there's nothing like that underneath for the ocean floor. So much as far as seamounts.
Wow, pretty exciting. Okay, so how long have you been on the OET Exploration Vessel Nautilus?
So we've been here since the 11th of this month.
So about a week so far, right? About a week.
Yeah.
And then how long is this expedition?
It's ending pretty quick already. So this was a 2-part expedition. It's called Lebu's Voyage Part 2, but there was a Lebu Voyage Part 1, which was also, I think, maybe two weeks also.
Wow. And what do you do all day on Nautilus, if you're allowed to tell us? Like, do you sit in the communication room?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Or do you walk around?
Yes.
I mean, what do you do all day?
Okay, so one of my primary responsibilities, which I already talked about, was to be part of the Science Party Line, which is really fun. The Science Party Line is a team of experts, and including the lead scientists, the data loggers, the video engineers, the ROV pilots, and the navigator. As a SciComm, I have the honor of introducing the public to the highly skilled team and discussing our scientific endeavors during our live dives, which can last maybe 8 hours a day. But our dives in total range from 20 to 30 hours a day. Another responsibility I have is participating in live interactions with classrooms all over the world. This one's kind of one of my favorite things to do. The live interactions last about 30 minutes and are hosted via Zoom. During these interactions, students simply, they're just like very curious about the ocean, and we just share the importance of it through, it's called telepresence, which is how we're able to convey all this communication that we're using right now.
Oh my gosh, how exciting. I assume this was like a fairly competitive process to be chosen for this, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. How many people are on the vessel? Is it like 10 or is it like 100? Or somewhere in between or more?
No. It's 52.
So it's fairly large, right? If you have 52 people, it's like, is that like a city block long? I mean, is it really big?
It's about 68 meters or 224 feet.
Kim, can you tell us about the expedition's purpose and what are you all aiming to accomplish?
Yeah, of course. So these 2 back-to-back expeditions, Lebu's Voyage 1 and 2, we're gathering data through seafloor mapping, and we're exploring the floor with all of these remotely operated vehicles and to illuminate the deep sea habitats of Palau, the area that we're at right now. These expeditions are funded through NOAA, which is the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. And our job here is to really discover what is here, because the Palau, where we're at, is called the Palau National Marine Sanctuary, and it's it's a huge conservational effort, like one of the biggest on Earth, just because of its rich biodiversity. So we're aiming to protect this area, or to see what's here, note what's here, and then just protect this area.
Wow. Okay, so for people that are not familiar, where's Palau?
Palau is in the Midwestern Pacific. So we're like maybe we're like right at or maybe 3 degrees north of the equator.
So you flew from like Arizona, I assume, to Hawaii and then somewhere else?
Yeah, to Guam and then Palau.
Okay. And that must be a very long flight.
Yeah, it was very long. I think the first couple of days, I didn't know what day it was.
What kinds of ocean technologies are you using on the expedition? And what has the experience been like to work with these tools? So I know you said it's like cutting edge and these people are experts. Do they have like new technology? Do you use sonar? Or I'm not familiar with a lot of stuff that goes on in the ocean. So what are you using and doing?
Yeah, so our main sources of technology, like I keep mentioning, would be the remotely operated vehicles. And that one is Hercules and Atalanta. And these two are remotely operated vehicles that work with one another. Their sidekicks are, Atalanta makes sure that Hercules doesn't bump it into. It's kind of like it's just making like it's checking its surrounding at all times. And then Hercules, of course, is a larger ROV that does all of the sampling and up close shots and all of those cool things. And but in order to do all of that, we need to map the seafloor. So we're using multi-beam sonar. This tool maps unknown areas of the seafloor, providing like really high resolution data. And then, of course, to make it live, have Nautilus Live work, we have the telepresence technology, which is how we're able to talk right now too, is through the live video, audio, and data feeds, and then in real time.
Wow. What an opportunity and adventure. Do you have anything funny that you're allowed to share? Anything funny that happened to you or
I guess,
interesting?
Not so much. Yeah, it was pretty funny. So on our way over, one thing that I never do, and I don't know why I did it, was check my bags at the airport. And so when we got to Guam, I just heard something, because I was kind of like, at the time in Guam, I was at the airport, I was just kind of like half asleep sort of, and I just heard that the plane was too heavy, so they're gonna like take some bags out, and I didn't think anything of it, and then until I got to Palau, finally, I was waiting for my bag, and it never showed up, and I tracked it, and it was still in Guam, and I was like, oh no, I got to get on the ship in a few hours, and like I don't have my bag, etc. So I was kind of hopeful, and I was just like very optimistic. I'm like, I don't know, I've never lost a bag before at an airport, because I usually just keep it with me. So once the ship was ready to, leave to the sea, I was like, I still don't have my bag, and the ocean exploration team was trying to like locate it, and it was already at that time like we're on a schedule. So I was like, oh no, I don't have my bag. So I spent a few days on the ship without my luggage, and I was pretty much just like punk rocking it, and just like I had my toothbrush, and I had like because I still had my backpack, my laptop, and all the essentials that I had, like my carry-on. So I had a lot of like different things in there, but the major stuff was still in Guam. And somehow a miracle happened. We were able to do like a personal transit, because I think some people were getting off of the ship, but that didn't mean that we were going back to land. Just a personal transit was coming to meet us, and somehow my bag was located, and I got my bag. So for a few days it was pretty rough, but also really fun, because it was like a real adventure at that point.
That's awesome. How much space do you have? Do you each have like your own room, or do you get a bunk, or how does that work?
Yeah, so with 52 people on the ship, we all have to like have a roommate. So I have two roommates. We have like a small space and like 2 bunk beds.
That's pretty awesome. So where's your roommate from?
She's from Guam.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And one's from Florida. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say my roommate's actually the ROV pilot for Atlanta, so it's really cool to talk to her and get some insights on that.
So when they're the pilot, they actually like, I assume they go through some kind of like pressurized door, and then they're riding the vehicle on the floor, correct? On the ocean floor?
Okay. Yeah, just to be very clear, is that these remotely operated vehicles that we're using, there's no humans in them.
Okay. Okay. So she's just
Yeah, so it's
monitoring
all
it or
just,
moving it from the ship, and like
yeah,
they're tethered, I assume, to the ship or not?
yeah, we're tethered.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, because in the control van, this is where all of us are getting together and we are seeing everything for the first time on huge screens. And it's just like, if you can imagine, like the NASA space launches where everyone's in the control room and there's just like computers and people are just sitting on their laptops. It's like that, but a mini version because we're like in a storage, the storage containers. There's like three of them welded together that's on top of the ship. So they made that and converted it into like a studio slash control room, and we're all in there in the dark. So it's pretty cool.
Gosh, how amazing. So how deep are you right now? Is it like thousands of feet or hundreds of feet, or do you not know?
I think. Let me check real quick. Let me turn around. The last, because I was on watch a little while ago, and we were at 900 meters, but I can't see what we're. I think we're at seven. Well, it looks like we're at 700 meters, but we're going as far as 3,000 meters.
Okay, I'm just looking up on my phone. How deep is, so a meter is, so let's say if you did 700 meters, how many feet is that? 2 feet.
Well, 3,000 meters would be equivalent to like a 1.6 miles.
Wait, that's really deep. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now I've got to get back to a couple other really important questions also. Is there, I assume these are all scientists. What's the science community on the ship like? Or is everybody like, are you thinking about what's for dinner or talking about recipes, or are you just thinking about science and talking about that all day long?
Yeah, that's one thing that's really neat about this experience is that you're just fully immersed in science. It's right when you wake up, you're doing science, and even when you're eating, you're doing science, or you're talking about science, and then moments later, it's just it's just science at its fullest and purest, most form. And one thing I really enjoy too is we have presenters here and there, and they talk about their latest research when we have our downtime.
And I'm assuming that everybody's as passionate about science as you are, obviously, right?
Yeah, yep, 100%. Everybody is 100% into science. It's marine biology or any type of. There's some that are more the experts at other things than others. One thing that we're lacking, though, which is interesting, is a geologist on the ship, which we really need, honestly.
It's interesting that I guess you don't really think about geology at the bottom of the ocean, but I guess it is geology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I would have thought, you're at the ocean, they would have been oceanographers and other things, but,
Yeah.
Biologists and things like that. But, yeah, good point. So how's the food on board?
The food is amazing. Like, I'm very shocked because, like, the first day that we showed up and we had dinner together for the first time, and there was just, like, buffet style of food. And I was just like, is this just to celebrate us being on land and starting a new crew together? And I was just expecting it to kind of like wind down over the next few days, but it just keeps coming for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's very consistent, and there's a variety each time. And yeah, it's amazing. And I think the chef and the cooks do an awesome job, and they're one of the hardest working people on the ship.
Oh my goodness, what an experience. All right. So Exploration Vessel Nautilus and the team are specialized in exploring the deep ocean. What's the environment like? Because as I mentioned, when I saw it, it was just like flat, and I was really shocked. I really thought I would have seen like a few fish. And I know you said that you're exploring the underwater volcanoes, but I didn't see any coral reefs. Do you see any of that? I mean, how is this different from the beach and near a beach that people might be picturing in their heads?
Oh, okay. So there's a difference between shallow water corals and deep water corals. So where we're at, we're studying deep water corals, and there's a lot of sponges in that zone, and that's probably about like 2,000 to 1,000 to 2,000 meters deep. And yeah, we're I think one of the biggest discoveries or goals is that, or yeah, goals is that we're just really trying to understand the seamounts in this area. So right now in this Palau area, or this Palau region that we're studying, is there's over 200 seamounts. And so the ecosystem's going to vary, and this is kind of like a puzzle that the scientists are kind of like, we're having this conversation of like, why is it that there's some corals here and then there's no corals here, and there's some sponges here and there's some anemones here? It's so diverse, like we can't figure it out, just because like there's just very limited research on this topic right now.
Do you think that whether pollution or global warming, I mean, is that affecting it, or water bottles, anything like that?
Yeah, I think definitely the climate change has a huge shift in what we're seeing. And I mean, unfortunately, we can't like compare it to anything since it's the first time we've seen this area. But for sure, like on like when you're on land and near shore, you can actually see the effects of the corals in that area being affected.
Okay. I know water bottles are a big problem, and I know trash and nets and things like that in the ocean. But have you seen any fish or sharks or interesting sea life?
Yeah, we see just recently. So Nautilus, just depending on the expedition, so far we've seen like different. We saw like a smaller type of shark, a lot of cusk eels. Let's see, what else did we see? A lot of snails. We saw a snail. Well, the area that we're studying is that it's just mostly coral. What else have we seen a lot? Crabs. Not so much larger organisms.
So does
we saw like a Dumbo octopus.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Do you, so, because you're saying like snails, then I assume there's like magnifying or magnifying scopes or something that you can see these little things, or how do you see them if they're so little?
Yeah, it's we use Hercules. So Hercules is the one that has the camera, and it's able to zoom in quite well.
Okay. And then they're going to map this, and then will they go back out like in a year or two and see if anything's changed, or with climate change, if it has like reduced the coral or the sponges or anything like that? Is that part of the plan?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's the goal.
That's the goal. Okay. And have you seen any archaeology, like any ships that have gone down or anything like that?
Well, not on the voyage that we've been on. This Libu's Voyage Part 2, we haven't seen anything of that nature. But here's a fun fact, is that there's like 3 million shipwrecks that are still waiting to be found.
Wow, 3 million? That's a lot.
Crazy.
We'll continue our interview with Kim Etsitty after this short break. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org. Native Talk Arizona returns after this song. You are listening to Bring That River Home by Ray Zaragoza and Biza.
Sand beneath my feet, salt of the earth. coming back to me. Start of rebirth. Carry me, carry me, carry me to the water. Wash my body and bathe me in the smoke. Carry me, carry me, carry me to the altar. And finally bring that river home. 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 Love flowing east, lost to the wind. Come, set me free to the stars again. Carry me, carry me, carry me to the water. Wash my body and bathe me in the smoke. Carry me, carry me, carry me to the altar. And finally bring that river home. Bring that river home. Bring that river home. Bring that river
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy, and we are continuing our interview with Kim Etsitty. I know when I was doing research on you and Nautilus and what you're doing, so I know that you didn't start out doing ocean and exploration. How did you actually start?
In this field?
Well, in science. I mean, I know that you mentioned that you love science and teaching, that you originally wanted to be a vet and then decided against it. But were you always interested in the sea?
Let's see. Well, honestly, growing up on the Navajo Nation, where there's just water is just very water's scarce, and I think living in the desert region, we learn to appreciate water pretty quick and become resourceful of it. I just think that living in such a diverse area like the Colorado Plateau, which is that's where the Navajo Nation consists, it has a lot of different landforms, and that we're well known for it. So growing up with such a pretty backyard, it was just very hard not to not explore it. So exploring the ocean is different, and it's more scary, but it's like I think one thing I keep telling myself is that this water that we're on is our mom, and she's taking care of us, and she's the reason why we're living. So we need to kind of study her and protect her. So in that way, I think I took this opportunity as more of a way to learn to appreciate this water source that is a main component of planet Earth, and take it back to the reservation where we don't really get to interact with it a lot.
I mean, it's just like, what an opportunity. What do you, I assume your students and your family are following along?
Yeah, they've been, it's very fun to see them, and the comments sometimes pop up. But I have been keeping in contact with my family and trying to keep them in the loop of when we're diving, and it's nice to see them, and the comments, like I said, rooting us on. And for my students, I did make it an assignment for them to check up on the dives, and also I did have like a live Q&A session with the school, the whole entire school of Navajo Pine High, and it was really fun to see everybody again.
I bet they are so proud of you. I mean, what an opportunity. I don't know. I mean,
Thanks.
like so amazing. So, what kind of message do you have for your students that are listening, or that are watching you on the live feed and things like that?
Okay. Um, let's see. I think my message for my students is to encourage them to learn about their culture and history, because I feel like having a solid sense of your identity can take you places and teach you it's okay to fail. My favorite thing about science is that it is our way of living as Diné people and many indigenous nations. I always tell my students that we are science, and everything that we do, starting from when we wake up, we think, we plan, we live, and we assure at the end of the day. Um, then you go outside and you breathe in these oxygen molecules that are like 2.4 billion years old. So in Navajo culture, that's to me that's very special, because even with that information, we acknowledge the first air that we inhale as a baby and to the last breath that we exhale when we pass. So I think it's a very beautiful thing, to know that we are all like interconnected.
What a great message. Oh, do your students check in on you often? I mean, do you see that they're watching you like 7 days a week and chatting to you or getting messages to you?
Yeah, I think I got some comments in the section, and it was really fun to read them. And I just hear them say Miss Etsitty, and they'll say their funny slang that they use these days. And I also check up on them, like I can still access their grades and put stuff in, but I haven't done so just because of the priorities of the bandwidth.
So I know you mentioned that you get to do a lot of things as the comms person there. What happens in the live commentary?
So, like I mentioned, whenever we're doing a live session or a live dive, um, there's a control van, and in the control van, it has the navigator, the Hercules pilot, the Atalanta pilot, the video engineers, the data loggers, scientists, the marine biologists, and then also myself, the SciComm. So in the live commentary, when we're diving, we're pretty much just like um, it's our reactions to what we're seeing. It's questions that we have about this area. It's just really deep conversation, or most of the time, it's just like um, the scientists explaining what we're seeing and giving the name of the, what do you call it, the specimens that we're seeing, or any of that nature. And it's just a really fun dialogue just to kind of listen along, and everybody's just having fun. We just talk about science, and it's called the science party line. And it really is just like a party, but science version.
That's like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine how much fun you're having and everything else. Is there something that's special that you hope to get out of this experience? I mean, that you'll go away with, or that you're looking forward to getting out of it?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for asking this question, because I've been thinking about this too. Because like in the long run, I'm like, what am I taking home? Or so this experience to me is like a very unique, but very humbling. It just makes you understand what it means to be human. The ocean is so vast, and just being out here, and like I look out the ship and there's no land all around me, and I'm just like, what am I doing out here? So it really puts you in a perspective of what most of the planet Earth looks like. I call her our mother, Shamato, which is our water. Our mother water is so powerful, and while living on her, you want her to be calm. So my family back home says, talk to her, just talk to her, because she's a being too. She's living. So talk to her, let her know that to comfort you. So I just want to share this experience, because living in the Southwest makes it hard to connect the two together. So I want to share the importance of water and change how science is taught. So some call it traditional ecological knowledge, but I think I like but it's not really traditional, because a lot of us still practice it today.
Do you ever get scared out there? I mean, you said like you look and you don't even see any land anywhere. Does that a little unsettling or no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the other night I couldn't sleep because the ship was just rocking so hard, and so my room has a little porthole, and the waves just keep smashing it, and it's like a really loud noise, and you rock and it moves you, and you're trying to sleep, but then it's just like boom, and it's so that was like maybe 2 nights ago, and we actually had to cancel one of our live dives because of the surface current and ocean current were going opposing directions and at different like extremes, or I guess not severe speeds, but more than usual, that we couldn't do a live dive, so we had to postpone it.
Okay, so what do you want your students to get out of this or out of your involvement? Do you want them, you've mentioned it a little bit, but do you hope some of them go on to become scientists or oceanographers or anything like that?
I think, if anything, I want them to just see that there are Native scientists. I want them to see themselves in me because, if anything, I was them. I grew up in the dustiest part of the reservation, which was Chinle, Arizona, and I lived that free life lunch, and along with the joy of like receiving tribal clothing and everything that all the res kid experiences, like I was able to be part of that growing up, and I just really want them to be proud of that and be proud of where they come from, because the reservation can be hard, but it's like it just makes us stronger knowing your culture and your history to make you successful. Otherwise, you become lost, and because you don't have pride in yourself or your identity. Sorry, I got choked up on that one. It's just like really hits me hard.
How are you gonna, when you get back and you go back into the classroom, are you gonna incorporate some of this back into the classroom with the students? Are you gonna talk about the ocean, or are you, do you have any plans to do anything like that?
Yeah, thanks for bringing this one up. Right now, I'm also part of a curriculum team out in Espanola, and with the Los Alamos National Laboratories, and one of our projected goal right now is to have a curriculum developed that is based around Indigenous science, and that one should be published. Like right now, I should be working on it too, but it should be published by next year, and we have the first unit that's going to be going into a pilot pretty soon, and that science curriculum is consists from 6th grade to 8th grade, and it encompasses a lot of land-based teaching from Indigenous perspective. So I do try to incorporate a lot of those lessons that I'm currently working on with Los Alamos National Laboratories, and just pilot them in my class for now. Just for example, like just trying to change the way Western education is being taught to students, just because there's a huge disconnect. I think one thing about Western science is it isolates phenomena versus Indigenous science, where it's like that's what it's more of interrelatedness. We're part of it, and it's kind of like there's that reciprocity of knowing these things.
I just keep going back to like what an opportunity that you've got. Are there any opportunities on board to integrate your Indigenous background and teach and tell the other participants on board like about you and your history and your culture?
I think that's one thing that makes the Exploration Vessel Nautilus unique, is its approach to science, because months in preparation to this expedition. So back in April, I was able to be part of the Science Com Forum, which were we dwelled into different themes of this expedition and what we really wanted to accomplish as SciComs, which would be, just becoming familiar to the spaces we're entering. For example, we're in the Palau National Marine Sanctuary, which is, the is what the Palauans in this area, this is their space, and just being very mindful of that. And even when we're diving into these deep oceans, I get to share a little bit about um, just being very appreciative of the water that we're in, and being very thankful of the samples that we collect, and saying thank you, and kind of like have that verbal offering, uh, just kind of like the traditional practices that we use back home when we gather plants or any types of rocks or anything that we're using for ceremonial purposes. So I get the opportunity to say thank you, and allowing us, Coral, to use you for educational purposes, kind of thing.
Do you think that this is going to motivate some of your students to maybe learn more about STEM or STEAM, or be interested in maybe pursuing a career in oceanography or engineering or even communications that you're doing now?
That's my goal and that's my hope. But I think, if anything, just learning about high schoolers is that all of them are, I think we can all relate. At one point, we all just didn't really know what to do. But I feel like my main goal for them as a teacher is to just have them become appreciative of nature itself. Not so much like, yeah, I would love them to be scientists and pursue ocean, or pursue STEM or STEAM. But I think the ultimate goal is for them to just be very appreciative of their environment and learn to be respectful of that.
It shows that to me, what you've done shows that anything is possible. With dedication and hard work and perseverance, that look where you are and look what you've done, and how many people get the opportunity that you've got to go out and do that. I don't know. I think it's incredible.
Thank you.
There's very few people in the world that are getting to do what you're doing. So obviously you deserve it, and you've done a great job to get there. So I think that's pretty amazing. That would motivate me if I was a high school student and go, wow, look at what she's done, and I want to do something like that. So if anybody's interested, any of our listeners, how could they follow your journey on OET's Exploration Vessel Nautilus? I know I Googled it and found it, but is there a website, or how would they check and see what you're doing, or chat to you all?
So I think right now, since our Libu Voyage 2 is wrapping up, and that's going to be on Friday. So if anything, I just would suggest logging on to nautiluslive.org. Or they can even follow me too on Instagram, and I've been posting a lot of they have, the cool thing about nautiluslive.org is that they have all social media platforms. So they're on TikTok, Facebook, I think it's called Twitter these days. I don't know what it's called, or Instagram.
Yeah, and Instagram. What's your Instagram, if you're comfortable sharing that?
It's Kimmy, Kimmy, Etsitty, Etsitty. So it's just at Kimmy Etsitty.
Okay. So do you have like a particular, in your whole career and your teaching and everything you've done, do you have a particular success story that you think about, or somebody that motivated you to take this path and this journey?
Yeah, I think it was back in so I attended a tribal college, Diné College, for maybe my first 3 years, and I had a science teacher, and she was just really great. And but what was great about her is that she used a lot of the local scientists in the area of Navajo Nation to come and do guest presenters to us. And one of my favorite scientists, his name's Arnold Clifford, who is amazing, and he's a geologist, he's a botanist of the area. He knows the plant names, common names, scientific names, and even the Navajo names, and the purposes of all the plants in the whole Colorado Plateau area. And so I think having those experiences with in Diné College or at Diné College, I was able to just kind of like say, this is amazing. Like, I never knew that all of my whole surroundings around me just had like purpose. And I thought that was really neat to just kind of, and especially to see like a Native scientist excelling in those fields was amazing and inspiring. And I was like, I want to be like that.
I think that's one of the things, like, for Native Talk Arizona, is we've gotten to chat with so many amazing scientists, mostly Navajo. At just like, we had somebody on the other day who San Juan River near Bears Ears, and Dr. Nessifer, and like all kinds of people that have done these things. And Stephen Tallis, who's on the PBS Nova series. And we spoke with a potter recently about what she's doing about the pottery with the lining with the pinon tar, and how it's, anyway, like all kinds of really cool, great stuff. So I just think it's pretty impressive. I believe, weren't you also interested in space exploration?
Yeah, I think that's how I got into this program.
And are there any plans to apply for that or get involved in space?
Yeah, so I think another success story of mine is, like, I do partnering with the NASA Space Grant Program back home. We collaborate on lessons, and we plan star parties in our community. A star party is like where you set up numerous telescopes and we stargaze. And I share this because it's really neat. And I think I share this because when was it? Maybe when I was like 17 years old, I saw Saturn for the very first time, and that moment was a very pivotal moment in my life. And I just like wanted to know more and more and more about science, and I just kind of like got sucked in, and I was in it. I wanted to know more and learn more. So I think that working with the NASA Space Grant Program has been very neat in that, very helpful getting telescopes to the reservation. And it's really neat to see the grandmas and grandpas and the little ones seeing the moon up close for the first time. And it's like a very precious moment.
I mean, I just think I listen to everything you're interested in, and oh my gosh, like, what an amazing thing. I'm sure Navajo is dark sky, correct?
Yeah, Navajo is a dark sky. It's amazing for night skies. And right now, back home, because right now we're close to the equator, and the night sky has been very hazy, and you can't really. It's very cloudy, so you can't really see the stars. But back home, it should be nice and crisp because it's winter back home. And the only thing about night sky viewing is that it's very cold, so you have to like bundle up pretty good.
But I bet the things that you can see up Navajo must be amazing, like in the sky, right?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
I think that.
So right now, I think Orion should be back up. And
well, I hope that it sounds like you'd like to be chosen for something for space, right? If somebody came and offered that opportunity to you.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a space camp voucher. I haven't used yet. The space camp voucher is like a U-10 space camp in Alabama for like a week or so, and I think I might try to do that this coming summer because I couldn't do it this past summer. I was just too busy, but I think I'm going to take up that voucher pretty soon.
Well, maybe NASA's going to come knocking at your door, or Blue Yonder, or one of the other groups, so you never know. Maybe you're going to be the next astronaut. I don't know. And Kim, and finally, how can our listeners find more information about the Ocean Exploration Trust, their upcoming programs, and how can they contact you?
So you can get more information about the Ocean Exploration Trust at nautiluslive.org, and that is nautilus.org. And there's a lot of opportunities as far as internships for high school, graduate students in college, yeah. That's
awesome. And how can people contact you? You said you gave us your Instagram. Can they reach you through Nautilus, or do you prefer Instagram or Facebook, or what's your best method of contacting you?
Yeah, you can contact me at kimetsitty@gmail.com, and that's just KIM, and then my last name, Etsitty, ETSITTY @gmail.com.
What a pleasure. I have learned so much. I just think what an opportunity you've had, and I can't wait to hear what it's like when you get off and come back and sort of how you process it and what your next adventure is going to be. I have no doubt that in a few months we'll hear that you're on some kind of NASA or some other great adventure that you're going to do. So can't wait to hear more.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate you taking time while you're on the boat to chat with us and tell us what you've been doing. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahia, for allowing me to share this experience.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and 90.7 FM KRDP. Our executive producer is Susan Levy. Sound engineer is Javier Quiroga. We hope you will tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please reach us at nativetalkaz@listen2krdp.com.